All right, guys, we're going to hop right into it. Chapter 14, Section 4 of your books. That would be pages 484 to 487. Our learning objective for this particular section is we're going to learn about key strategic decisions that led to war's end. We're going to learn why and how the war ended in Europe and in the Pacific. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on this lecture. We're going to just hustle through it. You are going to have access to this PowerPoint itself on Google Classroom. So don't feel like, oh man, this is going way too quickly. If I'm going too quickly, sorry. You guys are going to have access to me talking to you guys via this PowerPoint, but also you're going to have access to the PowerPoint itself on your classroom. You can go at your own pace. Without further ado, we're going to hop right into it. End of World War II. The end of World War II in Europe was on May 8th, 1945. We call that VE Day, which means Victory in Europe Day. The Allies were able to defeat the Axis powers for many reasons. The Axis powers at this time, the Japanese, you have the Italians, and you have the Germans. One reason why the Allies were able to defeat the Axis was the location of the Axis powers. Geographic location during this time played a big part. The Germans had to fight on several fronts at the same time, dispersing your army, your military, your forces in many different directions, as opposed to having like a centralized front. It was hard to stay up on it, and that's why the Allies were able to wear and tear away at the Germans. Hitler also had made some poor military decisions. One of those, being an example, was he underestimated the Soviet Union's ability to fight. Remember, Hitler turned his focus on the Soviets, and he tried to invade and attack. The Soviet Union stood its ground. The Germans were not prepared for the Soviet Union's winter as well, being another reason why the Axis powers were getting torn down. Here's some images of war's end. You see some newspaper articles. Germany surrenders, Tuesday named VE Day. End of World War II. The huge productive capacity of the United States was another factor. At the same time, Allied bombings hindered German production and caused oil to be scarce. Oil being scarce grounded the Luftwaffe, which was the German Air Force. War in the Pacific. Although Germany was defeated, the Allies still had to defeat the Japanese in the Pacific. Come May 1942, the Japanese had gained control of the Philippines, which was big. Killed thousands during the Bataan Death March. You see on this slide how some things are bolded. You're going to want to know those. So the Bataan Death March, Douglas MacArthur, and island hopping. You see Douglas MacArthur, his name there. He's always going to be associated with this whole concept of island hopping. What island hopping was it was a campaign to recapture islands from the Japanese. Island hopping, the goal was to recapture some Japanese-held islands while bypassing others. So island hopping was a strategy that the United States used, and it worked. The Pacific War. You're going to have access to this PowerPoint slide. I'm not going to read this whole thing for you guys. It just gives you basically a recap of the Bataan Death March. See some images of it. See some dead bodies. See an execution of a prisoner of war, POW. So you have war in the Pacific. The captured islands served as stepping stones to the next great objective. The great objective for the United States at the time was Japan itself. The Americans gradually moved north and were able to blockade Japan. Bombers pounded Japanese cities and industries. The British were also involved and caused Japanese forces to retreat back into jungles. It's a jungle-like. It's a map. So you have a B-29 bomber. B-29 bomber. Those planes are so sick. In early 1945, bloody battles in Iwo Jima in Okinawa showed that Japanese would fight to the death rather than surrender. Some young Japanese became kamikaze pilots who flew their planes purposefully into U.S. ships. The goal of these kamikaze pilots was to create and destroy and wreak as much havoc as possible. There's Iwo Jima. You've seen this picture before. Pretty famous war picture. A mountain, Mount Surabaki, in Iwo Jima. A picture of Iwo Jima, Okinawa. It's kamikaze pilots. Kamikaze attacking of USS Columbia. We're going to transition to building the atomic bomb. Building the atomic bomb. While Allied military leaders plan to invade While Allied military leaders plan to invade, scientists offered another way to end the war. They had conducted research codenamed the Manhattan Project that led to the building of an atomic bomb for the United States. The U.S. president at the time was Harry S. Truman. Newly presidented Harry S. Truman decided to drop the atomic bomb because it would save American lives. The Allies first issued a warning to the Japanese to surrender or face utter and complete destruction. The Japanese ignored the warning. There's President Harry S. Truman. Dropping of the bomb. On August 6, 1945, a U.S. plane dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb instantly killed 70,000 people. Many more died from radiation sickness. When the Japanese did not surrender, another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945, 3 days after. Following that day, the Japanese finally surrendered, ending World War II altogether. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were civilian towns. 140,000 people had died in Hiroshima by the bomb and its associated effects, while an estimated for Nagasaki roughly 74,000 people. And those are rough estimates. It could be way higher. We don't know exactly. There's that mushroom cloud that the atomic bomb produces. The name of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima was Little Boy. On Nagasaki, the name of the bomb was Fat Man. Pretty ironic. Some injuries from the atomic bomb itself. People were not intact after the bomb was dropped. They definitely suffered some physical tolls. That's where the PowerPoint slide ends. Like I said, after the PowerPoint, you guys are going to have access to that PowerPoint itself again on Google Classroom, but you guys are going to work on Chapter 14, Section 4, Reading Guide. It's not at a 42 points. It'll be at a 15 points again. I know it's pretty similar to what you guys have been doing. You guys are all familiar with it. Please get it done. Please get it done. It won't take up that much time. It's just one of those things you're going to crank out and really focus on. It's going to be good to help you prepare for the test coming up in the following week. Also, we're going to give you an exit slip activity. The exit slip activity will be on the atomic bomb. It'll take you 5 minutes. You guys are going to respond to it and then upload it on your Google Classroom as well. Like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out. We're going to try switching things up just a tad bit so you guys are staying a little bit more engaged and we get just to interact with you more because we miss it dearly. We're going to move straight into the activity. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys are all staying safe.